A majority of orthodontic treatment is done with the fixed appliances, which mainly comprise of brackets, archwires and ligatures. This lecture deals with few of the alloys which are most commonly used as an archwire in orthodontic treatments. Four types of archwires are most commonly used in orthodontic treatments. Number 1, stainless steel wires. Number 2, chrome cobalt wires. Number 3, nickel titanium wires. And then number 4, beta titanium wires. Ideally, an archwire must have a large spring back property. That is, it should be possible for the wire to be deflected over a long distance without permanent deformation. This means that a clinician is assured for a large range of the movement with minimal adjustments. Secondly, the wire should have high formability. That is, it should have a capability of being easily shaped, bent, or it should be transformed into complicated configurations like loops and helices without getting fractured. First, let's talk about stainless steel archwires. Steel are iron-based alloys that contains less than 1.2% carbon. But when 12 to 25% of chromium is added to the steel, the alloy is called as stainless steel. These archwires are available in round, square and rectangular shapes, and each shape has different sizes available. Talking about the advantages of stainless steel archwire, first, it is a biocompatible alloy. Secondly, it has the capability to withstand the high occlusal forces due to its high stiffness. The third advantage is that it can be cold worked without the risk of fracture. Another advantage is the good formability, the property which is helpful when used as an orthodontic bands or ligatures. This property is also very useful in cases when many small stainless steel wires, they can be twisted together to form a multi-stranded archwires. These archwires are also corrosion resistant except for the joints where soldering or welding is performed. Now let's talk about the disadvantages of stainless steel archwires. First is the lower spring back property. Well, it has a lower spring back property than the nickel titanium alloys, which makes it a poor initial alignment archwire. Secondly, more frequent activations are required because of the high stiffness of the stainless steel archwires. Then, these archwires, they also deliver higher forces as compared to the wires made of other alloys of the same diameter. This may cause some discomfort to the patient. Soldering is demanding because if the temperature is higher than 500 degrees centigrade, it affects the corrosion resistance of the alloy. Chrome cobalt is an ideal material for the medical devices because it possesses the properties of being biocompatible, radio-opaque, and non-magnetic. This alloy is used to make the pacemakers, artificial heart valves, stents, and orthopedic wires. Talking about the composition of the chrome cobalt alloy for the archwires in orthodontics, cobalt is the base element, whereas the chromium, it gives the passivating effect which makes the wire corrosion resistant. Nickel, it increases the ductility. Morbidium, it acts as the hardener. Manganese acts as oxide scavenger, whereas carbon, it increases the strength, hardness and ductility. Both iron and beryllium, they act as the hardener for the chrome cobalt alloy. The chrome cobalt archwires, they are biocompatible, having an excellent resistance to tarnish and corrosion. In its non-heat treated form, the chrome cobalt archwires, they have an excellent formability, which means they can be easily twisted and turned according to the application. Because of its high resiliency, the chrome cobalt archwires, they have high resistance to fatigue and distortion. Talking about the disadvantages, the first one is that the chrome cobalt archwires, they have a tendency to harden at a point where the two segments are welded or soldered. The second disadvantage is that the chrome cobalt archwires, they cannot be bent again and again from the same point because due to repeated bending, it gets fractured. In case of chrome cobalt archwires, it is preferred to use a low fusing solders because when heated above the 650 degrees centigrade, it results in the loss of yield and tensile strength. Another disadvantage is that these archwires, they release high forces during unloading, which causes the discomfort to the patient during tooth movement. Now let's talk about the nickel titanium archwires, which were developed at the Naval Ordnance Laboratory That's why they are also called as nitinol. Nitide possess a specialized property of shape memory effect, which means that it can revert to its original shape even after repeated deformations. Let's talk about the advantages of nitide. The most important advantage is that it has an excellent resiliency, which means that it can be easily tied up to even very malaligned teeth without getting permanently deformed. Due to good springback property, frequent activations of the wires are not needed, which means that there is no need to change the wire or activate it at every appointment. One wire can work for a longer range and a longer period of time. Nitide exert very low forces and have very low modulus of elasticity. These low forces are beneficial as they prevent the root resorption and maintain the periodontal health of the tooth. Another big advantage of nitide archwires is that they have low load deflection rate, which clinically means that whether the tooth is little out of arch or much out of alignment, when the wire is tied to the tooth will experience the same amount of force. This is extremely desirable property because very low and constant forces are provided by the arch wire during the tooth movement. The lack of formability is a major disadvantage in case of nitide wires because the procedures where the first, second or third order bends, they have to be given in the arch wires. In cases of fine turning of the tooth movement, it becomes very difficult in cases of nitide arch. Nitide possesses springiness, which means that the wire can shift from one side to the other and may hurt the buccal mucosa. The beta titanium arch wires, which are also called as titanium molybdenum alloy wires, they were introduced in the orthodontics in 1981. Talking about the composition, titanium and molybdenum, they are the major elements, whereas zirconium and tin, these are the minor additions in the composition of TMA. Besides being biocompatible, TMA possesses a balance of properties that every clinician needs, like high elasticity, low stiffness, and ease of joining. It can be easily twisted, it has excellent formability, possesses true weldability, which means that satisfactory joints can be made in the wire by welding. These wires deliver low biomechanical forces as compared to stainless steel and cobalt chromium arch wires. The beta titanium arch wires, they have excellent tarnish and corrosion resistance. Well, besides being expensive, the TMA, it possesses a disadvantage of high surface roughness, which can cause the high frictional forces. The other type of arch wires used in orthodontics are composite arch wires, which is formed by adjusting the ceramic to polymer proportions, and gold arch wires. So this was a brief lecture on orthodontic arch wires. I hope it was informative. Thank you very much. Take care.